Let me ask you something real. Have you ever looked at a woman and thought, if only she could see the real me? She'd fall hard. You try to be nice. You're present, attentive, maybe even generous with your time, but she doesn't lean in. She pulls away. And the guys she does chase, they're not trying, they're not begging, they're not even available half the time. So what gives? Here's the truth no one's telling you. Women don't fall in love through logic. They fall through feeling, through a storm of emotional contrast, uncertainty, desire, and challenge. And if you're showing up as the man who gives too much, talks too much, and never leaves her wondering, you've already lost the game. This video isn't for guys who want to beg their way into a woman's heart. It's for the men ready to take back control. Stoicism isn't about being cold, it's about being centered, unshakable, magnetic. Because when you learn to master your emotions, your attention, your presence, you'll stop chasing and start attracting. In the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through 10 powerful shifts you can make, 10 moves that flip the script and trigger that deep emotional pull no woman can resist. And if you're serious about never being forgotten again, stay with me to the end. Number 1, be the man she can't read. Let's be honest. If she can figure you out in 5 minutes, she's already bored. Most men make the mistake of putting all their cards on the table too soon, texting constantly, over-explaining their intentions, telling her everything she wants to hear. And you know what that does? It kills the tension. It removes the curiosity. And once the curiosity's gone, the chase is dead. Now think about the opposite, a man who doesn't give too much away. A man who seems like he's got depth, but you can't quite figure him out. That guy. He becomes a puzzle she wants to solve. Because uncertainty, when done right, creates emotional addiction. So how do you become that man? It starts with restraint. You don't need to answer every question she asks right away. You don't have to overshare about your past. Let your energy do some of the talking. Your vibe, your eyes, your actions. Stoic masculinity isn't about being cold, it's about being composed. It's about giving her enough to stay intrigued, but never so much that she can pin you down like a book she's already read twice. A man she can't read isn't silent. He just knows the value of saying less and meaning more. Instead of bragging about what you've done, you let your lifestyle show it. Instead of seeking validation, you move like you already have it. That kind of presence pulls people in, especially women, because they feel something deeper is going on and they want in on it. Here's a truth not enough men understand. The female mind is hardwired for emotional storytelling. That's why when you create gaps, subtle pauses in the conversation, quiet moments in your interaction, her brain fills in the blanks. And usually she fills them in your favor. Why? Because mystery activates imagination. And imagination is 10 times more seductive than anything you could say out loud. This is exactly why chasing kills attraction. When you're too available, too eager, too easy to figure out, she stops wondering about you. And once a woman stops wondering, she stops feeling. The second you become predictable, you become replaceable. Instead, become the man who keeps her guessing, who shows up when it matters but doesn't cling, who listens more than he talks, who smiles when she's trying to provoke a reaction. That balance between presence and detachment, that's what she'll crave. This doesn't mean you play games. It means you understand that mystery isn't manipulation, it's magnetism. You don't lie or pretend. You simply allow her to discover you over time, layer by layer. And the slower the reveal, the more intense her interest. Let me ask you this. How many women have fallen for the guy who gave them everything on day one? Very few. Because value isn't given. It's sensed. And when you're calm, grounded, hard to shake, but also a bit unpredictable, she doesn't just notice. She remembers. So stop oversharing. Don't explain your every move. Don't post your every thought. Let her feel the parts of you she hasn't touched yet. That's where the pull lives. Now, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment. What do you think is the most powerful way a man can stay mysterious without playing games? I read everyone. We're just getting started. The next part. Her emotions obey your calm. You don't want to miss it. Number 2. Her emotions obey your calm. There's a certain kind of man who doesn't flinch. He doesn't talk much. He doesn't chase. But when he walks into a room, she notices. Not because he demands attention, because he owns his energy. And her emotions, they start to sync with his. That's the man you become when you master calm. Think about this. Most guys try to win a woman over by reacting fast, answering quickly, doing more, feeling more. They match her energy thinking it shows care. But what it really shows is instability. She doesn't want a man who bends to her every wave. She wants a rock, a man who stands still in a storm and makes her feel something she rarely gets: safety without smothering. And when you're calm, when you're emotionally still, her nervous system mirrors yours. That's real biology. Mirror neurons respond to emotional presence. If you're stable, she softens. If you're erratic, she panics. Now, listen to this quote by Marcus Aurelius. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. That strength, it's what she feels when you hold your emotional ground. Here's what that looks like in real life. Let's say she's spiraling. Maybe she's testing you, throwing emotional jabs or pulling away to see what you'll do. The average guy, he overreacts, gets needy, texts too much, tries to fix something that doesn't need fixing. But the man who stays calm, who lets her come to him, who speaks few words but chooses them well, he's the one she keeps thinking about, long after the moment ends. Because here's the twist. Feminine energy is drawn to emotional gravity. When you don't panic, she doesn't panic. When you breathe slowly, she unconsciously slows down too. And in that moment, she trusts you. She may not say it out loud, but inside she feels it. Now I get it, this isn't easy for every guy. Especially if you were taught to be nice, to please, to make her feel good all the time. But trust me, a man who leads with calm clarity creates way more attraction than a man who performs. Let me give you a real-life example. There was a guy, let's call him Anthony, late 40s, divorced, sharp, but always emotionally reactive. Every time a woman pulled back or got moody, he'd overcompensate, apologize, beg, push harder. One day he decided to stop. He started practicing calm, not fake, but built through breathing cold showers, journaling like a Stoic. And slowly women started responding differently. One of them told him, "You make me feel like I can just be around you." That's the shift. When your presence quiets her mind instead of fueling the fire, you become unforgettable. Let's go deeper. Stoicism teaches us not to suppress emotion, but to master response. Calm isn't about not feeling, it's about not being ruled. And women can feel that mastery. It's in your eye contact, your posture, your breath. You say less, you lead more, you create emotional contrast. And contrast is sexy. Women don't fall for men who are just like them emotionally. They fall for men who make them feel safe to be fully feminine. That means chaotic, messy, expressive, but not in control. And that's your job, not to fix her, but to hold her. Not physically, though, that's part of it, but emotionally. Can you be the man whose heartbeat stays slow when she's moving fast? Can you anchor her in your stillness? That's where real masculine energy lives. One more quote, this one's from Seneca. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Let that hit. Because when she's emotional, what she really needs is a man who doesn't get swept into her imagined chaos. A man who brings her back to reality, not with lectures, but with calm presence. So here's your challenge. Next time you feel her test you, she gets cold, she gets fiery, she pulls away. Don't react, don't chase, just breathe. Ground yourself, speak slow, stay steady. You'll be shocked how fast her energy softens. And when she realizes your emotions don't obey hers, that's when hers will start to obey yours. Stick with me, because in the next part we'll talk about something most men never understand. Don't pursue, invite. That shift alone, game changer. But hey, if you felt this message hit something deeper, keep watching. This is only just beginning. Number 3. Don't pursue, invite. Let's get one thing straight. Chasing is not the same as leading. Most men confuse the two. They hear make a move and think it means constantly texting, complimenting her, initiating plans, proving their worth. But what she actually wants is something more subtle, more seductive, and a hell of a lot more masculine. She wants to feel invited, not hunted. When a man pursues, the energy says, I need something from you. When a man invites, the energy says, I'm building something, you can come along if you're ready. And trust me, that difference is everything. Let's break it down. A man who chases by nature places her above him. He puts her on a pedestal and starts tap dancing for her attention. It's the typical please like me energy, and women are hardwired to be repelled by it. Because it's not about the effort, it's about what that effort reveals: neediness. On the flip side, the man who invites is a different breed. He leads his life. He has direction. And when he interacts with a woman, it's not to fill a hole, it's to share a frame. He doesn't beg for her presence. He lets her feel that being part of his world is a privilege. That's what makes her lean in. Not because you begged her to, but because she senses you don't need her, but you'd enjoy her. There's a quote from Epictetus I want you to remember. Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. When you chase, you give up your freedom. You make her attention your goal, and you sacrifice your center for her response. But when you invite, you stay rooted in what you control: your energy, your time, your direction. Now let me give you a real example. A guy I coached named Mark, early 50s, solid guy, built a business from scratch. But when it came to women, he was exhausting himself. Over-texting, over-planning, always being available. And strangely, every time he tried harder, women pulled away faster. I told him one thing: stop chasing, start choosing. We worked on flipping the script. He stopped initiating double texts. He started letting women reach out more. He built a full life outside of dating and showed up from that energy. Within weeks, the dynamic changed. A woman he thought had ghosted him circled back, asking if he was free to catch up. Why? Because space creates intrigue, and self-respect is magnetic. You don't win her heart by closing the distance. You win it by controlling how far you stretch yourself. That's what inviting looks like. Now here's where most guys get confused. They think backing off means doing nothing. It doesn't. It means you still engage, but from grounded energy. You flirt. You smile. You listen. You lead. But you don't try to convince her. You reveal who you are and let her respond. Here's how it looks in practice. You text her to make plans, but if she delays or flakes, you don't spiral. You move on. If she's hot and cold, you don't chase clarity. You maintain your calm and let her figure it out. You don't try to fix her mood. You stay centered in yours. And suddenly, you become the mystery. The reward. The man who doesn't pursue validation but invites a connection and lets her do the emotional investing. That's the difference. Women fall for men who lead with purpose, not pressure. And when you master that energy shift, when you stop chasing and start inviting everything about the dynamic changes, you become the prize. You become the one she starts overthinking about, wondering if she's doing enough, wanting more. That's not manipulation. That's just you stepping back into your power. And trust me, that power is what she's really attracted to. In the next part, we'll dive deeper into a weapon most men overlook completely: your silence. Because sometimes the most seductive thing you can say is nothing at all. So stay with me, it gets better from here. Number 4. The power of your silence. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you really sat in silence with a woman? No phone, no music, no trying to fill the space. Just you, her, and the weight of the moment. Most guys are terrified of that. They think silence means awkwardness, that if they're not constantly talking, explaining, entertaining, they're losing her attention. But here's the truth: your silence says more about your power than your words ever will. Think about it: the loudest men in the room are usually the most insecure. The ones who always need to speak, who can't stand even a beat of quiet. They talk to prove something. But a man who knows who he is, he doesn't need to prove anything. He lets the moment breathe. He knows his presence is already doing the talking. And women, especially the ones worth keeping, feel that. They feel it when you look at them and don't rush to speak, when you let them talk and don't interrupt, when you can sit across from her, calm, composed, and completely comfortable in silence. That energy, that calm tension, it arouses something deep in her. Because silence, when held with confidence, becomes mystery. It creates a space where her mind starts spinning, wondering what you're thinking, wondering what you're holding back, wondering why you don't feel the need to fill the gap like every other guy. And that wondering becomes attraction. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have." Words are like that. The more you try to use them to get her attention, the more you give away your frame. But when you know the strength of your silence, you stay in control of yourself and of the dynamic. Let's make this practical. Next time you're with her, pause before you respond. Don't be in a rush to explain yourself. Let her words hang for a beat longer. Watch what happens. She'll lean in. Because she's not used to it. Most men flood her with attention, words, and effort. But when you withhold, not coldly but confidently, you stand out. You become that rare man who doesn't flinch under silence. And that stillness, it becomes a signal of emotional discipline. That's what she craves. And here's the twist. Silence doesn't mean absence of emotion. It means ownership of it. It means you're so grounded, so at peace with yourself, that you don't need to rush or react. You can wait. You can hold the line. This is why the most masculine men don't chase with words. They draw her in by the gravity of their presence. So next time you feel that urge to fill the gap, remember this. Your silence is not empty. It's charged. It's powerful because it holds restraint. And restraint is sexy. And hey, if you've been finding these insights helpful and you want to go deeper, really start building that kind of presence women can't forget, then now is the perfect time to subscribe to this channel. Even better, consider becoming a member. That's where we take things further. Exclusive content, advanced Stoic strategies, and direct tools to help you master emotional control, attraction, and leadership in your relationships. No fluff, no nonsense. Just the truth you're not hearing anywhere else. So if you're serious about leveling up not just with women, but with yourself, hit that join button. Become part of a community of men who are done chasing and ready to lead. All right, Coming up next, we're diving into something most men miss completely: what it actually means to lead without needing her. Because the moment you don't need her is the moment she starts needing you. See you in the next part. Number 5. Lead without needing her. Here's something that flips the entire dating script upside down. You don't need her to follow you, but you do need to lead. See, most men make the mistake of thinking leadership in a relationship is about dominance or control. It's not. True leadership, the kind that makes a woman fall for you, comes from vision, direction, and an unshakable sense of self, not from neediness. When you need her approval to feel like a man, she senses it. When your happiness depends on her responses, her mood, her attention, she loses respect for you, even if she doesn't say it out loud. And worse, the attraction starts to fade, quietly at first, then permanently. But when you move through the world already full, already driven, already committed to something bigger than romance, that's when you become magnetic. Because here's the truth: women don't want to be your purpose. They want to join a man who already has one. That's what leading without needing her looks like. It's waking up with direction. It's showing up to the relationship with your values intact, your schedule full, and your emotional stability on lock. She becomes a part of your journey, not the reason for it. And don't get it twisted, this doesn't mean being distant or cold. You're still present, still kind, still open. But you're not swayed by every emotional gust. You don't bend every time she tests your boundaries. You don't make her the center of your universe. You are your universe, and she orbits around it. Think about Marcus Aurelius. This man ruled an empire and still wrote in his journal about staying calm, staying focused, staying disciplined. He wasn't trying to impress anyone. He just lived his code. Women feel safe and, more importantly, turned on by that energy, because it tells them, this man doesn't need me to complete him, but if he chooses me, that means something. That's the key. When you lead with strength and certainty, she relaxes. Her feminine energy flows, and she starts doing something surprising. She invests in you. She texts first. She plans things. She pays attention. Because now you're not another guy trying to win her over. You're a man she wants to follow, and not out of pressure, but because your energy invites her to surrender. Now, here's the test. Are you still leading when she pulls away? If she goes cold for a day, do you spiral? Do you chase? Or do you stay grounded? Keep showing up in your life and let her come back into your world on your terms. Because the moment you chase, you're no longer leading, you're reacting. So let this be your reminder. Don't lead because you want her to follow. Lead because it's who you are. And the ones meant to walk with you, they'll come. Not pressure, not begging, just alignment. Now I want to hear from you. I lead even when she doesn't follow. Drop that in the comments if that's the kind of man you're becoming. Coming up next, we'll get into something that most men completely underestimate: the power of eye contact that doesn't just see her, but undresses her mind. Don't miss it. Number 6. The eyes that undress her mind. You don't need to say much to make her feel something. Sometimes silence paired with the right look speaks louder than words ever could. And if there's one thing women can't ignore, it's the eyes of a man who knows how to look, not just at her, but into her. Let's be clear, we're not talking about a creepy stare or a glazed-over look. This is about intentional eye contact that quietly says, I see you, I understand you, but I don't need to chase you. It's power without pressure. When you lock eyes with her and hold that gaze just long enough, not too long, not too fast, you're doing something primal. You're triggering curiosity. You're making her wonder what you're thinking, and more importantly, what you see when you look at her. Women read a man's eyes faster than any pickup line you'll ever rehearse. If your eyes show neediness, insecurity, or desperation, she'll feel it instantly. But if your gaze is steady, calm, composed, like you're not seeking approval, just observing with quiet confidence, that sticks with her. Let me drop in a quote here from Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Now, flip that into action when your mind is calm, assertive, and centered. Your eyes radiate that state. And when a woman locks into that energy, even for a second, it opens a door in her mind. A door she starts wondering if you will walk through. And if she wants you to. Here's the trick: most men miss women don't just want to feel desired. They want to feel seen without being consumed. They want your attention, but only if it's not for sale. Your eyes should give her the feeling that she's not in control of the moment you are. Not in an aggressive way, but in that calm, quiet strength Stoicism teaches. Here's what that looks like in real life. You're at a social event. She walks in. You notice her, you don't flinch. When she glances over, you meet her eyes. You don't look away quickly. You hold it just long enough for her to feel it. Then you shift your gaze with ease, like it didn't cost you anything. That subtle move right there. It tells her, I noticed you, but I'm not chasing. I'm not trying. I'm just being. That moment stays with her. Why? Because it breaks the pattern. Most men either look too long, creepy, or they can't hold a gaze at all, weak. But a man who can look at her like she's interesting, without acting like she's rare gold, that man becomes the challenge. He becomes the story in her head later that night. This is why I say your eyes undress her mind. They strip away her scripts. They disarm her game. They reveal a version of her she didn't plan to show. And it all starts with how you see yourself. Because if you're looking at her hoping for approval, she'll feel that. But if you look at her from a place of grounded masculine presence, she'll feel that instead. And that's the look she doesn't forget. Here's a tactic you can practice: the half-smile gaze. This isn't a full-on grin. It's a subtle, relaxed look, like you know something she doesn't. You're not performing. You're just fully in the moment, and she can feel it. Women are hypersensitive to presence. They'll remember the guy who looked at them like he didn't need anything but still had everything they wanted to feel. Remember, the game isn't about making her feel wanted. It's about making her feel seen, and then letting her wonder what you're not saying. That tension, that unspoken moment, it's magnetic. So next time you talk to a woman, don't rush. Don't flood the space with words. Let your eyes speak first. Let them lead the conversation your mouth never needs to finish. And before we jump to the next part, I want to hear from you. I speak through silence. Comment that below if you're building that quiet, unshakable presence that speaks before words ever do. See you in the next segment. Number 7. She falls for who makes her wait. Let's talk about something most men get completely backward. The idea that if you really like a woman, you should show it right away. Text fast, call often, make time. Make her feel important. Don't make her wait. But here's the truth: the woman who gets everything immediately values nothing deeply. It's not about playing games. It's about understanding human psychology, especially hers. Waiting creates value. Waiting builds tension. And for women, tension is attraction. When you make her wait, not out of manipulation but from true self-respect and priority, she doesn't feel neglected. She feels drawn in. She becomes curious, intrigued. She starts wondering, why isn't he rushing? Why does he feel so calm while I'm itching for a reply? Here's what most guys miss: women live in anticipation. That feeling of almost is addicting. When she doesn't know, when you'll reach out, when you'll reply, when you'll escalate the intimacy, that's when she starts investing emotionally. And the moment she invests emotionally, the game changes. Now let me be crystal clear. This isn't about being cold or distant. Stoicism isn't about acting like a robot. It's about choosing your moments with intention. When you give her space to feel your absence, you make her crave your presence. Marcus Aurelius said, "Think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now take what's left and live it properly." In other words, stop rushing, slow down. Act like your time and energy are sacred, because they are. A man who's constantly available doesn't feel like a prize. He feels like a product. Easy to find, easy to lose. But the man who has structure, who responds on his time, who leads the rhythm of the connection instead of chasing hers, that man becomes the one she remembers, the one she replays in her mind when she's alone. Let me drop a quick scenario for you. Two guys text her. The first replies in seconds, eager, full of energy, ends every sentence with a smiley face. The second guy responds hours later, not because he's playing games, but because he's busy living a life worth living. His message is short, confident, and without fluff. Who sticks in her mind? It's the second one. Because she had to wait. Because his attention came with a cost time. Because his validation wasn't handed out like a discount flyer. She starts imagining, what's he doing? Who's he with? Why isn't he giving me the same energy everyone else does? That's attraction being built in silence. Now this part's key. When you do show up, you show up strong, present, clear, confident. You don't explain your absence. You don't apologize for being focused on your goals. You just are. And that ironically gives her the feeling of being chosen. Not because you're desperate, but because you finally had space and let her into it. Think about that. Your time becomes the reward, and we all know what's earned is valued more than what's given. You want to know who women fall for. The guy who makes her wait and then shows up with intention, not the guy who's always ready, not the guy who drops everything. Because that second guy never feels like a challenge, and attraction without challenge fades fast. And here's the truth. Most men avoid. A woman's imagination is more powerful than your presence, so give her the space to imagine you, to wonder about you, to miss you. That's where emotional gravity begins. And when you finally lean in, when you make a move, when you speak with calm certainty, everything hits 10 times harder. So next time you're tempted to double text, don't. Next time you want to explain why you didn't reply right away, don't. Next time you think she might lose interest if I wait too long, remember this. If a woman's interest fades because you made her wait, it was never real in the first place. Now, I want to hear from the men who lead with patience and presence. I move with purpose. Comment that below. Let the world know you don't rush anything you value. Because the man who can wait is the man she can't stop thinking about. Let's keep going. Number 8. Let her feel your absence. Let's get something straight. A man's presence can be powerful, but his absence, that's where the real impact hits. Most guys are too afraid to pull away. Too scared that if they back off, she'll forget them, she'll move on, she'll lose interest. But that fear comes from insecurity, from thinking you need to maintain her interest, when in reality you should be inspiring it. And nothing inspires more reflection, more longing, more obsession than absence. Now, I'm not talking about ghosting her or disappearing to play games. That's immature and transparent. I'm talking about strategic space, silence with purpose, letting her feel what life is like when you're not around, when your energy isn't lighting up her phone, her mind, her emotions. Because when you're constantly available, your presence gets diluted. She gets used to it. It loses edge. It becomes background noise. But when you remove that presence, suddenly your value spikes. She thinks about the way your voice made her feel safe, the way you looked at her without saying a word, the way the room changed when you walked in. And now, it's not there. She checks her phone. Nothing. She posts something hoping you'll see it. Still nothing. She starts missing what she took for granted. That's when she starts feeling something deeper. Because now it's not you reminding her how special you are. It's her own brain doing the work for you. And here's the beautiful part. When it comes from her, it's 10 times more powerful. Seneca once said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Let that land for a second. When you give her space, when you step back from always being present, what you're really saying is, "My time is valuable. I don't waste it trying to convince anyone of my worth." That kind of quiet confidence, it's magnetic. You want to know how obsession starts? It's not from constant messages or grand gestures. It starts in silence, in absence, in those in-between moments where she starts wondering, why hasn't he reached out? Was I not enough? Is he over me? Who is he spending his time with? You're not chasing. You're not proving anything. You're simply living, and that makes her want to be part of your life again. Absence is not distance. Absence is pressure. And the more emotionally invested she was in you, the more that pressure builds. Now here's the catch. Most men miss. This only works when you've already made an impression. You can't disappear if you never showed up in the first place. So yes, be present first. Be intentional. Be grounded. Leave behind a trace of your energy that she remembers. Then step back. You're not punishing her. You're reminding her that you are not like the others, that your attention is rare. And anything rare becomes precious. Let's go deeper. When you pull back, she also starts to reflect on her own behavior. Did I give too little? Was I too demanding? Did I match his energy? She starts calibrating, and she starts realizing she wants back in. And when you return even subtly, she's more receptive, more appreciative, more in tune. Why? Because she felt your absence. And here's the paradox that most men never unlock. Your silence speaks louder than your compliments. Your absence creates more desire than your constant affection. It's not easy to do, especially if you genuinely like her. You'll want to reach out, to check in, to keep the connection warm. But real masculine energy is about restraint, about the ability to hold back even when every part of you wants to lean in, because that's the difference between boys and men. Boys chase, men attract. Boys fill the silence. Men become the silence she leans into. So if you're in a place where you're always texting first, always making plans, always showing up, try something different. Step back, not with anger, not with ego, but with purpose. Let her feel your absence, then watch what happens. Now, if you live by this, let me know below. I move in silence. Drop that in the comments. Let's see how many of you understand the real power behind patience, presence, and pulling away with purpose. We're not done yet. The next one, it gets even better. Number 9. Desire grows in emotional space. Let's talk about something counterintuitive. Most men think that the more they give, the more time, attention, reassurance they offer to a woman, the more desire they'll create. But the truth, desire doesn't grow in closeness. It grows in space. Not physical distance necessarily, but emotional space. That space where she wonders, what is he thinking right now? Does he miss me? Why does he feel so steady when I'm feeling all over the place? See, when you're always emotionally available, too responsive, too eager, too quick to explain or over-connect, you remove mystery, you collapse the tension, and desire lives in tension. Now don't get it twisted, this doesn't mean you should be cold or distant. It means you should be rooted, grounded, emotionally self-contained. Because when a woman feels that she can't completely read you, she starts trying to. And that effort, that curiosity, that's where desire simmers. One of the biggest mistakes men make is over-communicating their emotions, thinking that openness equals connection. But when it's overdone, what it actually does is create comfort, not chemistry. And chemistry needs oxygen. It needs space to breathe, to expand, to stretch. Let's bring in a Stoic perspective here. Epictetus taught, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." Apply that emotionally. Instead of over-explaining how you feel, hold your emotions with quiet strength. Let her feel into you. Let her project onto you. Let her mind do the wandering, because her imagination will always create more desire than your explanations ever could. This is why some of the most desired men are also the most emotionally disciplined. They don't dump their every thought on the table. They don't seek validation through constant expression. They don't rush to fill the emotional space with words. They sit in it. And that silence, that restraint, it becomes the fire she leans into for warmth. Women crave emotional depth. But what they fall for is emotional balance. You give enough to show you care, but not so much that there's nothing left to chase. Because here's the truth, if she has to wonder, she has to feel. And feeling is the gateway to obsession. Think about it. When has anyone ever longed for something predictable? They long for what's felt but not fully possessed. So, if you're always texting how much you miss her, constantly offering emotional affirmations, always available at the drop of a pin, there's nothing to build heat on. You've removed the space. You've overfilled it. Real masculine energy is calm and unhurried. It lets her orbit around you instead of dragging her into your emotional orbit. It's the difference between being accessible and being penetrating. Now let's get real for a second. Creating emotional space takes nerve, because you'll want to close the gap. You'll want to say that thing, send that message, reassure her. But every time you do that too quickly, you rob her of the chance to feel the depth of what you trigger in her. So next time you're tempted to explain yourself too much or rush to respond with emotional vulnerability, pause, hold the space. Let her miss your words. Let her remember your energy. Let her reach toward you instead of always meeting her halfway. Because when you give her just enough to feel your presence and then step back, you're not playing games. You're creating the emotional tension that deep desire needs to grow. And if you've ever felt a woman fall for you hard, you'll notice something. It wasn't the moments where you chased her. It was the moments where you gave her the room to chase you. If you understand the power of emotional space, let me know down in the comments. I hold the tension. Drop it below. Let's see which men here understand that attraction is not about saying more, but about saying less with more meaning. Number 10. Make her feel like she earned you. Here's something most men never understand. Women don't just want love handed to them. They want to feel like they earned it. Because anything earned is valued. Anything too easily given, it's disposable. See, the male instinct is to win her over by doing more, giving, pleasing, convincing. But when you give yourself up too soon, when you reveal every card, when you make her the center of your emotional universe, you strip away the value of your presence. And what's left? A man who's willing, eager, and forgettable. Now let's flip that. Think about the kind of man who holds his standard, who doesn't just give attention, he lets her qualify for it. Not because he's playing games, but because he knows his attention means something. He knows he's not just giving her time, he's giving her access, and that access is earned. This is the man she remembers. This is the man she talks about with her friends. Why? Because she worked for it. She stepped up. She felt that thrill of pursuit even if she never named it out loud. When a woman feels like she had to win a part of you, whether it was your respect, your trust, or your affection, she treasures that win because it meant something. Now, don't misunderstand. This isn't about withholding love. It's about not giving it away before she's invested. Think about how attraction actually builds. It starts with curiosity, then admiration, then emotional investment, and finally validation. But if you give validation first before any of that is built, you shortcut the entire process. It's like giving her the ending of a movie she hasn't even started watching. There's no journey, no stakes, no feeling. You've got to let her feel the progression. Let her earn your time by being consistent. Let her earn your admiration by showing depth. Let her earn your trust by being honest and real. Let her earn your affection, not through her body, but through her presence, how she shows up for you, how she respects your time, how she adds to your peace instead of disrupting it. When she feels like she's chosen you because you held your ground, not because you made it easy, that's when she falls in love. Because women don't fall for men they understand. They fall for men they feel lucky to keep. They fall for men who feel rare. And if you've built your life with strength, clarity, mission, and masculine calm, you're already rare. You don't need to say it. You show it. Through how slow you move, through how little you overexpress, through how firm your boundaries are, even when you're tempted to bend them. She doesn't want to feel like she owns you. She wants to feel like she discovered you, like she unlocked a part of you that most women never got close to. And if you give her that feeling of being the one who reached into your world and earned her place, you won't have to chase anything. She'll do what most men wish for. She'll chase you. Let her feel like she climbed to reach you. Let her feel like the connection was a reward, not a transaction. Because if she earned you, she won't forget you. And that, my friend, is how a woman falls in love deep. Not with the man who gives it all away, but with the man who gives her something worth reaching for. I wait for no one. If that's you, drop it below in the comments. And that's it, brother. If you made it to the end of this video, it means something in here resonated with you. Maybe it challenged you. Maybe it reminded you who you really are when you stop chasing and start leading. Now here's the deal. If you're the kind of man who values this mindset, this stoic edge, and you want to keep sharpening it every day, then don't just watch in silence. Subscribe to the channel. And if you're ready to take it deeper to get exclusive content, bonus breakdowns, and access to a brotherhood of men who are serious about this path, join as a channel member today. No fluff, no gimmicks, just clarity, confidence, and control in every area of your life. Thanks for spending your time here. I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Stay sharp.